G'day, Geoff Lewis here from Seriously Series, and it's been a while since I've spoken to you here on YouTube, but a lot has been happening behind the scenes, and I'm going to explain why we have been a bit absent from this platform over the last couple of months. There's plenty more coming your way, so as always you know exactly what to do. Click on that subscribe button down below, click on that notification button too, support Seriously Series on Patreon, and if you've done all that and more, grab yourself a brew or something slightly stronger and stay tuned. Rightio, here we are, and yeah, first of all, the elephant in the room. I have been absent from YouTube for a couple of months, and I do apologise. I know many of you have probably felt a empty void in your life each Friday because there hasn't been the escape opportunity there from one of these wonderful, seriously good videos. But there is a reason. I have had a horrible bout of the man flu over the last 8 months, and usually I just get a teaspoon of cement and put it in my cup of tea, and I get out my Meccano bridge building kit and I just get over it. But it hasn't been the case. The flu season here in Australia has been really bad, and I've had some of the worst flus I've ever had. Not to bore you with the details, but I haven't been able to get out of bed for weeks basically, and every second week I've been hit with a new form of man flu. So it's really knocked me around for a bit, and it's made it quite challenging just keeping things running in the background with Seriously Series, and then also, as much as I hate swearing, having to do other work to sustain this. So it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, but knock on a good bit of cast iron, I'm hoping that's all behind me and we can just move on as per usual. So first of all, I want to thank all of those of you who've recently joined us on Patreon. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It really does. And as much as the money that is pledged makes a huge difference to what we do here at Seriously Series, it's more so from an acknowledgement point of view. You know, you acknowledge and respect the work and the effort that actually goes into making these videos and everything else, because Seriously Series is so much more than just YouTube. And I'm not just saying that to give a overinflated ego of myself. It's fact, it's not fiction. So that is huge, and that is helping to partly push us forward into a new era for Seriously Series. Now, Road to Ruin, I keep bringing this up in every update video, is set in stone now. There is going to be an October release. I finally found a company in California which I spoke to a couple days ago, and Road to Ruin will be released in North America, Canada. It will be released in the UK, Ireland, Sweden, Finland, parts of Eastern Europe and Norway. We will be further releasing it in France and Germany, along with Sri Lanka, India, I think Thailand and Taiwan, and also Japan. So it ends up being about 25 different countries. I did forget to mention also Latin America too. So globally. That will be coming out on Apple TV, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube Movies and Amazon. So you can watch it there, buy it there, download it there. And if you buy it and watch it and rent it and download it, all the proceeds go back into this. Not me, Seriously Series, and making the next film and the next adventure actually possible. So that's going to be in October. We haven't finalised a date as of yet, but it will be coming. It takes 2 to 3 months to prepare the film. We've then got to prepare all the media behind it, so we can actually make a proper release of the film itself. So that's happening. Kuma, as I said, I've been crook, so Damon and I have edited up a draft of our adventure to get to the Kuma 75th. That will be coming out hopefully in the coming weeks. We do also have a new Back Out Bush sort of little segment coming out in a little while too, and that is with Murray and myself. Murray's a good friend of mine that's come on board to sort of help out with the filming side of things, and another good friend of mine, Nathan, is also getting involved with the production of these videos too, because it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just getting beyond the ability of myself and then Damon, whenever he's free, to sort of do it together, you know, and there's no shame in asking for help. So Back Out Bush will be happening with that. In 2 weeks time we're going to be heading off on a new big adventure, and this is really what I want to talk about with you guys and girls, because there's some great stuff coming your way. We're going to be heading off on a 2-week odyssey, and this is out into Australia's largest desert, the Great Victorian Desert. We're going to be leaving once more here from the goldfields in Western Australia and travelling over to the eastern fringe to the little settlement that is known as Laverton. From there we're going to be retracing a police patrol that was done back in, I think, 1915 or 1917, and some of the things that actually went on with that patrol. And then we'll be heading due south all the way down to the Australian Bight. Some 1,200, oh no, more than that, sorry, some 1,400, 1,500 kilometres with no towns, no fuel, and no Starbucks or Maccas at any turn. If you ask me, that's just the perfect ingredients for a proper adventure, and that's exactly what we're going to have. Sadly, Mike isn't going to be able to come along on the trip, but Nathan and Murray will too. And an executive decision has been made. The Series 3 will not be actually leaving the shed. I'm going to use the Land Rover Parenti for that adventure, and I'll touch on the Series 3 in a minute. So that trip, along with the next trip that we'll be filming in October called Across the Nullarbor, which will see us literally start off in Kalgoorlie, head due east on back tracks, and then actually 400 kilometres of which there's no tracks or roads at all, so we'll have to make our own tracks to then get down to the railway line, the Transcontinental Railway, and actually take that across to Maralinga, drive across the nuclear test site there to get to Adelaide in time for the Adelaide 4-wheel drive adventure show and to present the actual trip there. That, along with Trek to the Coast, is all being filmed for television. But we don't want you guys and girls to miss out, so it will be released probably in the early part of 2024, because it takes a long time to actually edit all this, and I have to do it amongst everything else that's going on here, so it takes time. And then Damon's got to look at it and actually correct it and make it straight, which is what he does best. It will be released in early 2024. It will be released first on Patreon. It will then be released on YouTube, but we will also release it on Vimeo. And we're going to release it on Vimeo so you can actually pay to actually download the entire series. You can download it, you can keep it on a hard drive, you can keep it on whatever device you like, and you can watch it to your heart's content. So you don't have to watch one video and then wait 2 weeks for the next one to come out. Why would you leave yourself hanging for that long? I don't know, I'll leave that up to you. So basically that's what's going to be happening. It will then be released on television. We're talking to a number of networks, the C31 network, we're talking to Fox too, the Aurora network, which will bring it out on free-to-air TV, which means basically here in Australia it'll be out nationwide. They are community TV networks, so we don't get any money from them at all. We are talking to other networks, which there may be a little bit of money actually contributed in there too. So that's, you know, big news and big projects. So that's going to be happening over the next few months. So the videos here might be a little bit staggered and a little bit lacking here and there, but that's because I'm busy working my you-know-what off to bring you the best content your way. Now, on top of all that, magazine publications, we've got a regular Bush Mechanics article in Western Four-Wheel Driver magazine that's been going on for 2 years. There'll be more additional articles of ours coming out in that magazine, along with Classic Land Rover magazine too, which we've got one that's just recently come out in the last edition on the Kuma 75th. Now, what's been happening in the workshop? Well, quite a lot. The Series 3, which is behind us here, and let's move the camera over that way and have a bit of a look at it. So the Series 3 basically is in its natural state of doing nothing. Many of you have asked about the motor, what's going on with it, and all the rest. It is a painstaking process, a process which grass would probably grow even quicker. I had a crack at looking at it myself and realised that the heartache, the pain, and all the rest of doing it myself and then it failing would probably mean that this vehicle would never see the light of day ever again. So I actually, and I've mentioned this, contacted a local company which have been really good to deal with so far, and I've actually given them the motor. The wonderful team at Turner Engineering, I can't thank them enough. They are just wonderful people to deal with, and I will always buy all my engine component parts off them from now on. Have been hugely helpful, and I've actually bought an entire new set of pistons, big end bearings and conrod bearings off them and more. The reason why, and I haven't got the pistons here sadly to do this justice, is the pistons that were actually fitted in it were a JP piston, and these are very good pistons, but they were of a more modern design, and they've actually got a slit actually in the piston themselves. Now with that slit in the piston, you would think that it would actually expand and actually create a tighter seal on the actual bore, but it's not actually the case. You've actually got to make sure that the bore is actually honed slightly smaller than what you would do on a standard 60 thou oversized piston. So that leaves something to question. I'm sure the previous company did it right, but it's just another question we have to investigate. And it had a 3-piece oil control ring, and I've been informed that if that's out by 1 thou, then it won't work. So that's another thing that needs to be investigated. The conrod bearings, the main bearings, were all completely hammered, and in other words, very badly worn for the pitiful, 1200 k's that the motor actually ran for. So that leaves the question of the oil pump in the motor. So the company that it's with now, they're going to strip out the oil pump, they're going to check everything, probably rebuild it, or I'll just buy a brand new one and chuck it in, because why not? I've thrown enough money at the thing already. So that's happening there. They received the parts about 3 weeks ago. They're very busy, so I'm just letting them do what they're doing. But basically, I'm not going to do any big major trips in the Series 3 this year. I've just decided it's too much stress, and it's too much, it's just too painful and just too much time. I could be spending my time doing a lot of other stuff and actually more adventures for you guys and girls. And I know some of you are going to be disappointed with that, and you're going to go, geez Geoff, just man up a bit. But this has happened a number of times now. The patience is wearing thin, and I would much prefer just to put the motor in and just take it steady and just slowly work it in, get it right, get everything so it's just spot on, and then go and do an adventure, and then come back and tighten everything up and replace all the seals as you do with every Land Rover adventure. So that's that's what I'm thinking. So with Trek to the Coast, we're going to use the Parenti. Probably for across the Nullarbor, I'm going to use the Parenti 2. And maybe sometime next year I will look at using the Series 3. But until then, it's not going anywhere major. I won't even, at this stage, I won't even take it down to the Perth 4-wheel drive show. We'll take the Parenti down for that, which is fine because that hasn't been to the show before, so it's something slightly different. So that's what's happening there. The Parenti is currently being put together back by yours truly. The transmission finally came back for it after 11 months of waiting, which was really frustrating. But anyway, that's done, it's in the past, let's move forward. So I've got that back. I put it in with the help of a good friend of mine, Dan, who loaned me the use of his 2-post hoist, which I tell you what, absolute game changer. 2-post hoist, 4-post hoist, any hoist is just awesome. Made my life a lot easier. So I've put the transmission back in. The transmission now needs to be run in because it's got all new synchros in it, so they need to bed in and all the rest. So I need to do some nice long runs to ensure that everything's just as it should be. At the same time, I've fixed a number of other little jobs in there. The sender unit hadn't been sealing quite properly. Some of the exhaust studs, the nuts had come slightly loose, and I went to take them off and they actually snapped. So I've got the lovely job today of actually drilling those out and re-tapping them. And then just sort of, just tidying up the vehicle and sort of keeping on top of those little jobs that you kind of put to the side. So anyway, we'll see. That should be ready in a couple of weeks. I'm going to rebuild I'll actually show you that. Rebuild a steering box or relay. I think they call it a steering box for the Parenti, but the series they call it a steering relay. And many of you might say, "Oh, Jeffrey, why don't you just go and get a power steering pump?" It's extra money. It's something extra to go wrong, and I don't know, I'm just happy to rebuild that. So that'll be a servicing your 4x4 episode coming your way in a few weeks, because they are quite a rare box, the old manual steering box. They were used in the classic Range Rover and the Parenti, but that's about it really. So yeah, so lots happening here. Our online store will be revamped in the coming months. If you haven't got onto that, dive into the description box down below. If you've never been in the description box down below any of our videos, have a go, because there's so much stuff in there. There's links to Patreon, there's links to our online store, there's links to our website. There's so much extra stuff that you can check out down below. And one other bit of housekeeping before I go, please click on that subscribe button. If you enjoy our videos and you like our videos and you come up to me at a 4-wheel drive show and you say, "I haven't seen any of your videos in a while," I'm going to ask you one question. Have you subscribed to the channel? Because if you don't subscribe to our channel and you don't click on that notification button, then it doesn't come up in your newsfeed on YouTube. And to subscribe to this channel, it doesn't cost you a cent, as many of you know. So please do it. And please give us a like too, that really helps out. And look, if you're really enjoying what we're doing and you want to see more of this stuff, you want to see more of these adventures that I've been describing to you and more, then help us out. Literally help us out by getting onto Patreon. For less than a beer, I think $4 a month is the minimum we ask for. That doesn't buy you a 10-ounce pint, it doesn't buy you a pint, and it doesn't even buy you a pie or a cup of coffee these days. So you're getting a cracking good deal, aren't you? Yeah, you are. But anyway, I've got a steering box to go and fix and Land Rovers to get back on the road. So I'm going to leave you here, but I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for staying. Thanks for watching. Gosh, out of practice.